me. Wouldn't let my enemies triumph over me. Oh, my God can do anything.
Sometimes pain is a gift. It tells us what needs fixing. This is a quote from a TV series, Complications, but it caught my attention. Pain can be a gift. It tells you something needs to be fixed. Having a headache and just taking an aspirin doesn't fix the problem. You need to find out why. Are you stressed out? Do you have a brain tumor? Do you have an aneurysm? Is there something else going on in your body? What is the reason behind it? Pain is defined as distress or sufferings, mental or physical, caused by great anxiety, anguish, grief, disappointment, hurt, or torment. Anybody ever experienced pain? Can I see some hands? If it hasn't been physical, if it was anxiety, if it was anguish, if it was grief, if it was suffering, mentally or physically, it's still pain. Sometimes your mental pain can be so strong that you think it's physical. Heartbreak will manifest as if it's a physical heart attack. I was watching this show called Extreme Weight Loss, and there was a widow named Melissa. Melissa was in emotional pain due to unresolved grief after the traumatic death of her husband. Her husband of over 12 years committed suicide. True story. Melissa was an ex-army wife, loving mother, and widow who hid her pain. We're going to explore the dangers of hiding your pain. For those Wonder Woman and Wonder Men and Superman, that nothing ever hurts you, that can cause some other issues if you don't face, address, and deal with your pain. If you fail to grieve, that could cause severe problems. I was standing in the middle of Boston Airport. We had done the nuptials for Suzette at Martha's Vineyard. And we flew back into Boston. I went to the restroom, and on my way to the restroom, I saw this sign. And the sign said, "We're with you on the journey." I probably wouldn't have noticed the sign except I saw two angels standing behind it. And that caught my attention. I thought, why is these angels standing behind this sign in the airport? Real sign, spiritual angels. And as I walked on and went to the restroom, on my way to my gate, Devin had taken a seat at the gate and my husband already at the gate. And as I walked toward the gate, I felt some water drench my face. I thought I walked under an air-conditioned vent or maybe an open hole in the ceiling, a pipe had burst or something. And I reached to wipe my face and discovered that it was me crying. When I discovered it was me crying, instantly, Devin must have noticed. She jumped up and ran toward me and said, "Mom, are you all right?" I said, "I'm unraveling." When I told her I was unraveling, I had a vision of a beautiful Victorian blouse with ruffled sleeves and ruffles down the front. And I saw a hand pull a thread and the sleeve dropped out of the blouse. And I heard, "I'm falling apart." I said to her, "I'm falling apart. Change my flight. I'm supposed to fly home, your dad and I, and preach. You're flying to Atlanta. I'm flying to Atlanta, and find me somewhere and lay down." I went and checked into a hotel, stayed there several days, rested beside still waters, let the Lord minister to me. I had that Elijah moment. That was my juniper tree. Flew into Jacksonville, rode back to Tallahassee with Lindsay and Byron, my son and my son-in-law. Made an appointment with a therapist, and the therapist said, "Why are you here?" I said, "You tell me." And I described what happened to me, and she said, "Let me take your family history." She started with, "Who died in your family?" I thought that was an odd place to start. I said, "Who died? Who didn't?" She kind of laughed like you did, Christy, and I said, "Well, when I was 4, my father died. When I was 6, my baby brother died. When I was 8, I had a friend die. When I was 10, my mother died." And I went all the way down the list. And when I thought I was finished, she said, "And what did you do at each one of those funerals?" I couldn't remember the funerals. She said, "What did you wear?" I couldn't remember what I wore. She said, "Did you help anybody at the funeral?" I remembered every funeral and who I helped. I said, I helped this person. I helped that person. I helped this. She said, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a pastor. And you're still helping. At funerals, I said, yes. She said, your problem is you failed to grieve. I said, how is that possible to bury that many people and have never grieved? She said, you suppressed the pain of the emotions to survive, and you just kept going. Knowing you kept yourself busy. I immediately identified with that. She said, you probably said next. I said, that's exactly what I did. With every tragedy, I said next, and I found something else to keep me busy. I kept traveling, I kept preaching, I kept ministering, I kept prophesying. I just kept helping. She said, now you're going to have to grieve the loss of all of them at once. And that's going to be extremely hard because you're dealing with 50 years of grief. Since I was 10 then, and at that time I'm now 62. So I started researching grief because I remembered in 2012, Dr. Clark called me and said, the Lord wants you to write this book on grief. And I immediately declined. I said, most people are happy over prophecy. I don't want to write about grief. I have lived that. And then I remembered, well, you just can't disobey God. She didn't say it was her thought. So I started working on it a little bit and put the book away and went to working on God of my dreams. Until this happened in 2016 in August in Boston Airport, and I had to pull out, journey on, and start back working on it because I had to journey through grief. So when you look at this lady, you might consider this something strange. I didn't consider it something strange. Melissa was in emotional pain due to unresolved grief. I had unresolved grief after the traumatic death of her husband. Her husband of over 12 years committed suicide. Melissa learned to hide her pain. Instead of grieving her husband's death, she turned to food. Somebody will identify with this, and hopefully it'll bring you out. Grief. What is grief? You may say, what is grief? I had to ask that and research that because I thought, if you tell me I haven't grieved, let me find out what I've been avoiding and what have I actually been doing. When I looked at the definition, I realized I hadn't. I didn't cry over not one of those deaths. I let everybody else cry. I comforted everybody else. I prophesied to everybody else. I made a conscious choice at my brother's funeral not to preach the eulogy, though I had prepared the eulogy, because it would avoid it. It would have kept me from grieving because it would have put me in the ministerial role. It would have put me in the pulpit. And I would have preached everybody else up, prophesied to everybody else, and failed to grieve myself. I didn't realize how important it was until I was unraveling. Thank God I didn't completely unravel, that it started me on a journey to wholeness.
Grief is a natural response to losing someone or something that is important to you. The stages of grief and mourning are universal and are experienced by people from all walks of life. For your gift of any amount, we will send you Dr. Rosier's teaching on seasons of pain, death, and grief. For your gift of $25 or more, we will send you Healing the Whole Person, Spirit, Body, and Soul, along with Seasons of Pain, Death, and Grief on CD. For your gift of $50 or more, we will send you the previous offerings plus Prophetic Insight for 2017. For your gift of $100 or more, we will send you all of today's offerings and the Journey On series on CD. To place your order, please visit our website, byrosier.org, or you may call and speak with a representative at 810-DREAM-08. Thank you for supporting Let the Prophet Speak and helping us reach the nations.
Still in Landstuhl, Germany, at Shama International Worship Center under the auspices of Pastor Samuel and Pastor Patricia Boswell, apostle and prophet, a part of the Network of Covenant Churches. And I'm here interviewing Paul Brown Jr. You're here in Germany and you're grieving the loss of the relationship that you had with your mom prior to being diagnosed with dementia. Most people see grief as you actually have to bury someone to grieve, but it's the anguish, the pain, the loss of relationship, the loss of a home, the loss of a dream, the loss of health, the anguish and pain from the loss of Hurricane Katrina, and people losing their homes. So you're going through a grieving process because your mom, who was a first lady, your father that pastored all of his life, and mother who was very vibrant, 5 children, okay? And now you're here in Germany, the rest of your siblings are at home. Tell us the story. What happened there?
Okay.
Were you aware that you're grieving? Are you aware that it's pain and you have to work through grief? Or are you being educated as I'm interviewing you?
I would say for me, the hard part was the fact that I was here in Germany. Like I said, I've been here for 17 years, so being over here in Germany when I started to find out about the diagnosis that my mom had, and then when we would go home every other summer for what's called the rat travel, where the military will pay for our trips back home, or the government, civilian government will pay for the trip back home. I noticed the dementia, and I noticed how her memory was deteriorating in a lot of areas, and just seeing how, you know, certain things she would do over and over again. And Dad,
she was not aware that she was doing it alone?
I don't think so. Okay. You know, Dad, he did kind of explain a lot of things to me. And again, so I come back to Germany, and then I try to make a trip home every now and then, but then for sure, the next 2 years, again, I go home and then things are worse. He would tell us that, you know, and explain to me exactly what was going on, but seeing it for myself made it really difficult. And so, like I said, my mom and I were super close. You know, I'm the firstborn son, so, I mean, I could just talk to Mom about anything, you know, and it was just really difficult to not be able to have those conversations.
So you're no longer able to do that?
No. Yeah, that's the rough part for me.
Does she recognize you?
You know, sometimes I really don't know what she's thinking in her mind. You know what I mean? So sometimes I always tell my dad, every single time I talk with him, he keeps us all abreast on Facebook, you know, and as a siblings group.
Right.
Just
but when you're
things.
there and talking to her, does she know that you're her son? Or is that the pain of, the reason I'm asking that, my grandmother had a stroke, and after her second or third stroke, she didn't know. And I would leave and just cry. Because sometimes she would be looking at me and she would ask about my older sister, and I would think, she knows her. She doesn't know me. She forgot me. So I had lost her, though she was still alive. Did you experience that? Or does she?
Sometimes
You did not have the anguish.
I think because I was away, you know, when I would come back home, for example, I would let my beard grow out, not just because it's the fad thing, but I would let it grow out because I felt that she recognized me more with the beard grown out, you know. And so that was one thing. And I would always tell Dad, every single time I talk with her on the phone, he'd always put her on the phone, and I say, you know, this is your son, Paulie. And I would always say, Daddy, kiss Mama Brown on the cheek and tell I love her. That was, I guess, for me, so at least she'll know, you know, this is the son.
That was the thing between you and your mom.
Yeah, and so I would come home and I always did. I always kissed her on the cheek.
Okay.
I think the hard part for me was just being here in Germany. I felt as though I wasn't able to be a part of helping and assisting Dad like the other siblings. You know what I'm saying? And then I think for me, I kind of felt a little bad or maybe even guilty at the fact that I feel like I missed out on all that. And my dad would always remind me, son, you know, you were the military, you got stationed there. And now you have your own family. He said, so I understand. He said, it's okay. But I always felt like I just wasn't there to do my part. You know, like...
Your eyes tear up now when you talk about
when I think about the memories, you know, I think about the things and the conversations that we did have. That's the difficult part, you know, for me.
So what would you say to other men? How old are you?
46.
Okay. What would you say to other men, middle-aged men, that they're going through this and they've lost that mom or lost that father before they buried them? They've lost a relationship. How would you, if you could give them a jewel or just a nugget to tell them how to survive that?
I think for me is the frequent conversations. Again, I wish I could be there physically next to her.
But since you can't, what conversations do you have that makes you all right when you talk with her?
Just
Aside
hearing,
from the tell Dad to kiss her on the cheek.
just hearing her. And right now, with the stages of the Alzheimer's, is now she kind of hums and sings a lot. So just to capture the memories and the good moments and grab hold of those good moments. My dad would always say, okay, he would even call us sometimes when Mom would have times where she seems as though she's back, if you will. And yeah, certain things that will trigger that memory, like certain songs. They love music, they love dancing.
So do you sing with her?
Nah, I just haven't had a chance to really do that like I want to. And like again, those are the things that make me really want to be back home in the States. You know, while she's still here on this earth, to just like when I go home now, I just lay my head on her lap, just to be next to her. So for me, for young men to just grab hold and be there physically, if you can just touch them, you know, tell them that you love them, anything you can do to possibly spark some type of memory, and just be thankful for those memories and those times that you have with them on earth.
Good. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your private moment, your jewel, and I'm sure there are people that battle with that, their parents going through Alzheimer's, and yet you freed some other men. You didn't have to share. Thank you for sharing. Grief is defined as, read it with me, as intense emotional suffering caused by loss. Pause there. Anybody had intense emotional suffering caused by loss? It's okay to slip up your hand. Can you identify with that? Then you've had grief, disaster, Hurricane Katrina. People that have had disasters where their house burned down. Our house burned down when I was in 9th grade. I lost everything except the skirt that I had on and blouse. I didn't have any shoes. Disaster. Misfortune, acute sorrow, deep sadness, a hardship, suffering, or pain. Melissa's husband, Mike, suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. January 15, 2009, Mike committed suicide from post-traumatic stress. Her husband had gone to Afghanistan, and she said he came back differently. I'm always listening to people that are military, on the plane, off the plane, in the airport, and downplayed post-traumatic stress. And I thought it was relevant to only vets until I broke my foot in North Carolina. And 24 hours I was laying there in pain in a room by myself. And wondered when I got home why I couldn't get over it. It was the post-traumatic stress. That was very traumatic for me. It was post-traumatic. It almost developed a disorder because I wondered when I was in Germany why I would have panic attacks when I would see all these steps that I had to go up. Until my son-in-law said, "Mother, you broke your foot going down a step. It makes common sense." So I had to say, "So Lindsay, you're saying I don't have common sense?" It makes common sense. That steps, your heart is telling you, your breathing is telling you, your mind is telling you, steps are bothering us. It was traumatic for me because I had never been in a place where I had to depend on someone to help me get out of bed to go to the bathroom. It was traumatic for me that someone had to lift me. I couldn't get out of my own house. Neither house, the one in Tallahassee or Panama City. Lawrence Jonay Young had to come and lift the wheelchair on the night of my birthday down that slope, push me in here. I look back at my birthday video and I can see the trauma. I can see the shock and the pain in my eyes and wonder, did anybody else see? The pain of I couldn't stand up if I wanted to. I had to have help. And wondering, should I call an ambulance to come to the Marriott in North Carolina at Raleigh-Durham, call an ambulance, have security to open the hotel room, and now they have to take me in my gown with no relatives here, and the people that I knew in the city had flown out. Bishop Bloomer had flown to Detroit for a taping which I was supposed to go to. My friend Dr. Valerie Morrow's job had flew her somewhere. So the only people I knew in the city were gone. That was the most traumatic thing that could possibly happen to me, Miss Independent. Now, some of you may say that wasn't traumatic. Not me. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental health condition triggered by a traumatic event. Mental health, it was mental. It was triggered by a traumatic event for me. That was very traumatic. Laying there wondering, how long can I handle this pain? I can't get up and walk to the bathroom. My foot is broken. The other one's severely sprained, so I can't even crawl. Trying to figure out, how can I get to the restroom? How can I manage this until someone gets to me? Symptoms include vivid flashbacks, depression, anger, and severe anxiety. I would still have flashbacks of it. I had to fight to not get depressed because I'm accustomed to going, and when I couldn't come to church. I couldn't use the bathroom at my Panama City house because it wasn't handicap accessible. Huge bathroom, remodeled it, but put that huge tub in the way of the wheelchair. A wonderful corner tub that 2 people, maybe 3 could get in. But I wasn't thinking knee walker or wheelchair. Tallahassee house, couldn't get in it. So that was traumatic. I can't go to the bathroom. I can't get in my shower because it's got this lip. It's not flat, so you got to step up over in. I don't think I remember experiencing anger, but I remember the anxiety of, can't go out to the pool, can't go out of the front door. Thank God, my nephew, I don't know where he got it from, this wonderful ramp that he brought to the front door. And yesterday I had a celebration, as for the first time since January 6th, I was able to drive and go somewhere by myself, and I've been driving since I was 14 years old. And I was able to get up and drive. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was able to drive to Sharon's. You thought I went to Paris. I walked down that ramp and I was singing, there's just no way could I ever honor you enough for all you have done for me. Every step. When I took my first step, and it was walking into the airport, March 6th, heading to Germany, I was singing in my head, there's just no way that I can take a step. God, thank you. One of the ladies went in to get her hard cast off. They took it off, x-rayed her foot, and said, ma'am, it's not healed enough, and put a cast back on. And I said, oh, no, devil. Oh, no, I bind this. I said to the technician, my brother just passed at 11:50 a.m. this morning, and this is 2 o'clock the afternoon. Something got to come off. This cast got to come off. That lady said, it's okay. Well, you know, sometimes. I said, lady, that's you. You didn't bury your brother. Your brother didn't pass. The brownie point was that cast coming off. When they gave me this soft one, that's okay. At least it wasn't a hard one that I kept kicking my own self in the bed, tearing the skin off my own foot. A high point of that was little Lindsay. Every time I got up to go to the bathroom in that knee walker, he'd put his iPad down and jump up. Wait, Grant, I'm help you, and shove the cast. He became so innovative, he put his little iPad up on the cast and watched it as he pushed me. But until I was off that knee walker, he never stopped helping me. God was speaking to me. That this baby noticed. And he would jump right up and help. But I was grieving the fact that I got to have a 2-year-old help me. It made me sympathetic and compassionate toward people. You don't know the struggles that people are going through. It made me want to repent and apologize to people that I said, don't cry. Now I'm thinking, I need to call them and say, cry all you want. If you're watching by Facebook Live, cry, work through grief. Whatever will make you okay. Let's have a crying party. We'll bring a box of tissue, chocolates if you like. Because who decides what's therapeutic for you? And I thought I was an extremely compassionate person. Sometimes until you've gone through something, and even if you have gone through it, I've experienced a lot of death, that I don't just have a doctorate degree in the natural, I have a doctorate degree in deathology. I buried more people than most people I don't think I've ever met anybody that's buried more loved ones, close family members than I have. But I still fail to grieve. Why I helped everybody else grieve. What I like about this particular show, they helped Melissa, extreme weight loss, helped her to identify the fact that she had not grieved right, that she just ate. In 1 year, she gained 100 pounds. She didn't grieve the death of her husband properly. So they helped her work through the grief and helped her shed the pounds to improve her health and to move on emotionally. If you don't grieve properly, you'll do damage to yourself in other ways.
Grief is a natural response to losing someone or something that is important to you. The stages of grief and mourning are universal and are experienced by people from all walks of life. For your gift of any amount, we will send you Dr. Rosier's teaching on seasons of pain, death, and grief. For your gift of $25 or more, we will send you Healing the Whole Person, Spirit, Body, and Soul, along with Seasons of Pain, Death, and Grief on CD. For your gift of $50 or more, we will send you the previous offerings plus Prophetic Insight for 2017. For your gift of $100 or more, we will send you all of today's offerings and the Journey On series on CD. To place your order, please visit our website, byrosier.org, or you may call and speak with a representative at 810-DREAM08. Thank you for supporting Let the Prophet Speak and helping us reach the nation.
In our wildest dreams, by His blood I have been redeemed, and in His mercy He kept me. Who wouldn't let my enemies triumph over